So I got a question from my newbie traders and intermediate most of the times. George, what is support and resistance? How better can I draw it? Can it help me get the support and resistance the right way? So guys, in today's video, I'm going to address two things in support resistance topic. One, how to draw it well or draw it the right way. And two, how to trade off from support and resistance. So stick and stay, I'll be right back. To make a turnaround either to the downside or to the upside, right? So support and resistance is basically price levels in the market. In actual fact, all price levels are support and resistance. As long as market stalls and make a turnaround, it becomes a resistance, and in the market it is all over. In today's video, or in this particular video, what I'm actually going to help you understand is how to draw it properly, or how to draw it the right way, and also how to trade off. And in our discussion, I'll also come with the features of support and resistance and its secrets. You understand? All right. So quickly, let's go into the board and let's see what support and resistance basically is. So first of all, support and resistance is just it's not. We don't have what we call resistance that runs through the market, and we don't have what we call support that runs through the market. It's two words meaning one thing. All right. So we say support. A market can show support based on what the prices are doing. We can say this is support based on what prices are doing, and we can say resistance based on what prices are doing, and hence we have support and resistance. Let's look at this diagram. So we have a diagram. Market could be trading up this way. You see market trade up, then all of a sudden it makes a turnaround. We call this level support. We call this level resistance. We call this level resistance. Alright, so now let me define what resistance basically is. Resistance is a price level in the market that stops. Okay? It is a price level in the market that stops to make a turnaround to the downside. Okay, so basically when we say resistance, we are saying that it's a price level in the market. When market is trading, it stops and makes a turnaround to the downside. The moment it makes a turnaround to the downside, we establish what we call resistance. Okay, so the features of support and resistance also come hand in hand. But before I talk about the features, let's look at what support also is. So we have another diagram. You see market trading down, and all of a sudden it makes a turnaround to the upside. This is established as support. This is established as support. Now the definition of support is also a price level in the market that stalls or stops to make a turnaround to the upside. Alright guys, so basically support and resistance definition is basically that. So in other sense, you must see support and resistance as prices level or price level in the market that stops to make a turnaround either to the upside or the downside. When it makes a turnaround to the downside, it calls resistance, and when you make a turnaround to the upside, it is called what? Support. All right. Now I want us to look at the features of support and resistance. Now, understand that support and resistance is not a one price, or it's not a single price in the market. It is considered as number one, a zone. Okay, support and resistance is a zone. When we say support and resistance, we are talking about a zone in the market, okay, which could be a price range of as little as 15 to 50 pips or even more. Alright guys, so it's very important you understand that support and resistance has no single price. In other words, we are looking for a zone in the market that prices get there and make a turnaround to the upside or to the downside. Alright, so it's very important you understand support and resistance as the first feature being what? A zone. Now the second feature of support and resistance is that when a support breaks, okay, first when a support breaks, it becomes a future resistance, and when a resistance breaks, it becomes a future support. What do I mean by that? When we see price chart, I'll show you a typical example. But here on the board, we have price move all the way here, turn around here, comes here, turn around here, and comes there. Now, this is our resistance. We establish our resistance. And this is our support. We establish our support here. When prices got here, it turns around. Now, when it gets to the resistance, it got broken. Alright? So this is the breakthrough of this resistance. And it forms a new resistance. Now look at what happened here. When prices got to this level, we saw it break. We saw it tested, We saw prices make a turnaround here. So this is a classical example of prices making a resistance here and now becoming a future support. So you can see that the price did not just bounce off on exactly price or price level. Market did not just bounce off. On that single price. It was in a range. So it's as if it's breaking, then it makes a turnaround here. So this is what you call the range. So there are two features. One, a support and resistance is seen as what? A zone. And two, when a support is broken, it becomes a future resistance, and its resistance is broken, becomes a future support. Alright guys, so the next thing I want to talk about, I'll talk about detail in the chart, but I want you to establish this secret. The importance of support and resistance is basically the foundation. That's the first secret. Is the foundation of all technical analysis. In the trading system, your technical analysis has the foundation, it being the support and resistance. A lot of traders give it different names, psychological level and whatever, but it still comes down to a key price level where they establish their technical analysis. So it is very important you understand this topic, else you cannot become a better trader in terms of your technical analysis. And another secret is that it is the psychological importance of which the institutions make economical decisions in relation to their currencies. So you can see that in a higher time frame like the weekly and the daily, when prices get to these levels, you see fundamentals coming up to direct the market to either the downside or to the upside. So as a trader, you have to pay particular attention to these levels so that you don't really take trades when market get there where you make a lot of losses. Alright guys, so the secret is that one is of psychological importance to the institutions, the market players. So as a trader or as a retail trader, your goal is to watch and see the reactions of the big dogs in the market. so that you now know whether you're going to go in the direction of the market or in the opposite of the market. Alright guys, so let's jump into the chart and let's take it from there. I'm going to show you detailing all the examples of support and resistance. Alright guys, so catch you in the chart. I'm using GBP USD. Alright, so I said support and resistance is basically a level in the price in the market where it stalls and make a turnaround. Alright, so if it is a support, we are saying that if it's a support, it's the price level on the chart that stalls and make a reversal, a true, when the market reaches there. In other words, what I'm basically saying is that when market gets to a price like this and it fails to break through, then we call it what? A support. Alright, so here I'm going to show you the first job we want to tackle is to how to draw it properly. Alright, so this is cable in the monthly time frame. Alright, why am I in the monthly time frame? It's because of one, the features and the different types of support and resistance we have in the market. We have the minor support and resistance and the major support and resistance. And in the major support and resistance is where the institutions really look at. So we have no business in looking at the minor support and resistance, which is in the lower time frame, even though it is also very important to consider. Alright guys, so it is so much of importance to the fact that if you look at the support and resistance in a higher time frame, it gives you a clear direction of where institutions are taking prices. Okay, so basically let's go on. Support and resistance one. Now the second thing I want us to look at is the features of support and resistance. Now in the video I made mention of the fact that support and resistance is not one price level. So one, it isn't a price level, one single price. So what then will be, it is considered as a zone. Alright, that is one important lesson to take out of this video, that it is what considered as a zone, in that when you are drawing your support and resistance, you do not consider one thin price, because institutions, even though they are reaching at a very particular price, they will play between a zone in order to get what price they want. So when I click this right here, let me quickly increase the thickness of this. Alright, so I have my support here. Okay, I consider this level as a true, meaning price got rejected and it bounced off. It got here, it bounced off. Here it broke through. Here it came to test, which is the resistance I'll talk about. Then it gets here again. So I consider this as support because of this and that. Alright. Now, because you realize that the rigs really kind of try to break it and it fails. So it means they are reaching for a particular price level, right? They are reaching for a particular price level. So all I'll do is to just create a zone, a thin line. I'll consider here. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So this is support, this is support. But the second feature of support and resistance is that a support that is broken becomes a future resistance. So first I said a support and resistance is not one thin price. Okay. The second feature is that a broken support becomes a future resistance, and a broken resistance becomes a future support, guys. So basically, these are the two main features of support and resistance. One, it is a zone, meaning that it is not one particular price you are looking at. And two, when a support is breaking, it becomes a future resistance. And when a resistance is broken, it becomes a future support. So using this particular level, considering here as support, it breaks here. This is the breaking point of this price zone. Then it comes down to create another support, then turns around to become a resistance right here. Right? Then it bounces off, then we are here again as resistance. So if the market fails to break this level, then it's going to make what? A mountain like shape to turn around here, just like it did here. Alright, so we have finished our business with the features of support and resistance. Okay, so one, you realize that it is one zone. Let's look at another example. Let me look at it. Here, guys, I'm using the monthly time frame. When we look at, when we consider this level, this price level, this level is a support because when prices got there, it fails to break through. It got bound, forming a true shape. A true, alright, forming a true and turning around to the upside. So I'll use my shape and likewise draw a kind of zoom around that price. Now when we go to the lower time frame, i.e. the 4-hour, the daily and the weekly, we see it's more clearer. We see it more clearer, right? So quickly, let's look at it. Quickly, when I go to the weekly time frame, this is what we see. This is what we see, guys. This is what we see. So you can see that price bounced off here, bounced off here, bounced off here, telling you that prices are being rejected. Institutions are testing this level and they are not breaking it. So what do we see? A turnaround to the upside, making here a very important support. Making here a very important support. And when it comes here to is the same. And this is the corona time. Last year March, market dipped down, tried to fake around, break prices to the downside. Then all of a sudden, it quickly came back into the level where we have marked, and boom, we make a turnaround to the upside. So support and resistance is very, very, very important. Okay, now I want to talk about the secret. Okay, the secret of support and resistance. The secret is basically two. Okay, are you ready for it? The secret is basically two. One, it forms the foundation of your technical analysis. As a price action trader, you cannot analyze the market without these important price levels. Okay, these important price levels. So without it, you cannot form any strong psychology. You cannot form any strong psychological or very strong analysis. Okay, very strong analysis, technical analysis to make any valid trade decision, basically. So without it being the foundation of your technical analysis, you don't have a system at all. You basically don't have a system at all. So one of the secrets of support and resistance is that it is the foundation of your technical analysis to making trade decisions, or to making trade what decisions. That's it. All right. The second thing too is that it serves as the psychological level. Okay, it serves as what? A psychological level, or it serves as institutional psychological importance. What do I mean by that? It means that it is this price level that the institutions should look at to move prices or to make economic decisions in their currency. So when prices get here, you see institutions, the bigger institutions like the central banks, will have a fundamental meeting, a meeting that will now determine whether we're going to continue to move prices down or turn around to move on the upside. So the secret of support and resistance, and why it's important as a trader to focus and really take note of these price levels, is that one, it is the foundation of your technical analysis. Without it, you cannot make any concrete technical decisions or technical trades. And two, it serves as a psychological area or psychological importance for the institutions to determine the direction of their currency or of the market. All right, guys. So this is so much of importance. Let's look at let's go to the daily time frame. Okay, even in the weekly time frame, when we look at this level, we can see right here, I can see support and resistance, and finally price breakthrough. Okay, so we saw that market tested here 2, here is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, before finally price broke. So here is considered as a psychological importance for the institutions. Here is serve as psychological importance for the institutions. Alright, guys, so like I said, you won't see a very one price level. When I go to the daily time frame as well, now we're getting very closer. So you see how important, how I have labeled these areas. Anytime prices get there, I'm much focused and look at what prices will do there before I make a trade decision, guys. Trade decisions, guys. It's very important. In the daily time frame, we look at this. I can see a support here. I think I'll use the daily time frame to elaborate on one of the features of support and resistance, where when a resistance is broken, it becomes a future support. So I've seen a support here. Okay, now I made mention the fact that when a resistance is broken, it becomes a future support. Let's look at a very obvious example here, or a very important example here. This is a support. Okay, price breaks here, it breaks this resistance and come and test it as support. Good. Now price surge all the way here, comes here, fails to break through this level, then dips back, retraces back or make a pullback, then finally breaks it here. So this is where price got to. Price move all the way here, gets here, then it makes a turnaround. It makes a turnaround to the downside here. Then we see the price break all the way here, comes to this resistance. This time around, it doesn't continue. It makes a turnaround to the downside. Now note that this resistance got broken here. So it now moves back to come and test here as what? Support. So like I said, a broken resistance, which is here, becomes a future support, which is here. So this is a very classical example of the features of one of the features of support and resistance. All right, guys. So I can use another pair. Let me quickly shift to another pair. You can find so much of importance. You can find so much levels, so much price levels in the market. But the most important support and resistance is to draw from the higher time frame, the monthly, the weekly, and the daily. The 4-hour is where you kind of assemble all your strategies together with the foundation of the technicals to make a trading decision. So how do we, okay, so let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Then let's see how we trade off using cable alone. Let's see how we trade off. Now I'm in the 4-hour time frame, right? So at this price level, you see how choppy in the 4-hour time frame prices are. Institutions try to go down, then pull back, goes down and pull back. So in this zone, you see how it's zone. Okay, now the zone will be a pip range of, let's say, 50 or more. Like I said, 50 or more. So right from here out to here, you see that the market was playing the support and resistance, which is this zone, which is serving as a support, was playing between almost 80 pips range. So here it becomes very, very emotional and very, very psychological to make a trade decision, because you wouldn't know market will bounce down or bounce up. Okay, so here as your foundation, I will be looking to go long. So what do we do? Now we are solving, and I'm basically letting you know how to trade off support and resistance. So I will not make any decision prior to this busy area. I will wait for market to tell me whether it's going up or down. Once market gets here, it breaks off here, I'm not in this move. I'll wait for a pullback. Once market comes down to test, so in this candle is where I make a decision. I will take a position right here. I make a decision here for prices to take me up. In other words, it has broken from here, so it comes to test as support, then I just buy to take me up, and boom, we are off. It keeps trading up, trading up until we get here. You see, once we get here, it also make a similar breakthrough, but eventually comes down to trade below the zone. So here I'm not making any trade decisions in this zone. I'll trade when market gives me a confirmation of selling that is below this zone, or buying above this zone. So if I were to buy, if I were to trade this, I'll wait for market to break. This move will confirm to me. This move down and a test and a move down will confirm to me that yes, price is willing to stay below the zone. So what do? I'll wait for a pullback to come and test again, then I'll sell down here, because we are below the zone of the resistance. Okay, so that is it. Now let's look at something like fiber, Euro USD. When you go to the weekly, the monthly time frame, exactly. So if I'm drawing my support and resistance, I'll consider here. Okay, I can see support here and support here. It breaks down, it breaks through this support and come and test it out. Alright guys, so I'm back. I was basically, this is the price level. Okay, This is a support, this is support. Price breaks through here and come and test as resistance and resistance. So here we are seeing another feature, okay, of support and resistance. That I said, when it breaks, it becomes a future resistance. So this was in history. It came to test it, then descended, and it is testing it again. All right. So this is basically a classical example of support and resistance feature or characteristics, if you will. So here, after identifying it as a support and resistance, what I will do is to just use my rectangular tool to mark it as a zone. Okay, so I have now marked it as a zone. A typical one too will be here. Now this is monthly time frame, so it is very important you establish that. So we have support and resistance right here. We have support, okay. But if you come here, you realize that here was playing kind of resistance here, right? So also I use my rectangular tool. I use my rectangular tool to kind of draw, make a label right here. When I go to the weekly time frame, you can see that these support, and support. What else can I see in a weekly time frame? I can see resistance. So when I just mark it, you can see clearly that I'm looking for here. I'm looking at this level. It breaks through here, but it's fine. And here kind of rejecting it, resistance. So we've seen a strong resistance, 1, 2, 3, then 4, then 5, and it breaks through here. So we should see a future test as what? Support, or since historically it was resistance. Okay, so I then use another tool to label this price level. Now, like I'm saying, these are higher time frames. Okay, higher time frames. So it's very important. It takes time for prices to get there, and once they get there, the institutions really react. All right. So when I go to the daily time frame, clearly you see that we have more levels to look out for. When I zoom out a little bit, you can see the levels that I've been looking at. We have here. When I zoom in a little bit, you see. So in the daily time frame, here I am with a support and resistance I drew in the weekly time frame. Now in the daily time frame, you could see that I have a support here. So I label this level as support. Okay. Now you see my rectangular tool has already grown. So test here bounce, a test bound, forming a throw shape like. Then moving all the way, touch this resistance, breaking down, and it is finally coming to test it as what? Support again. Whether it's going to bounce off or break through, you have to wait for the market to instruct us. Okay. Another one too I will use is somewhere here. I will see a support here, but here it's very choppy. Market breaks back and forth. So you can see prices making the back and forth move. It tested here support. It came back to try to break. It got rejected. Came to test this as resistance. Descend down again, then it makes a chopping move within this level, which in the daily time frame, then bounces off right from here, then we move. Okay, now it turns around here again. This is also a support. This is also a support. So if I label this level, you can see that this is a support. It makes here, it means that price got broken here, then it turns support. It means in the history it was resistance, and that's exactly what you see right here. You see price got bounced here, got rejected, got rejected, got rejected, got rejected, then finally broke through, then break down, then make a very indecisive direction right from here up to here. Then here are we on the upside of the market. So when I use my tool, I'll label this level as a zone. I'll label this level as a zone. So in going forward, I know what to look out for. And here too, I'll also label it as a zone. So in going forward, I'll also learn to look out for. So you see, when I label this price like this, it makes it so clear for me to know which levels am I looking at. Now these are daily and the major support and resistance I'm drawing. You can find this same, can do this same support and resistance in as low as the 1 hour time frame. That is how low I definitely go when I'm drawing support and resistance as a fundamental basis to making technical trading decisions, guys. So it's very important you take note of this. If I go to the 4 hour time frame, all I'll be looking out for, where are the highs and lows. So I can see a resistance right here, a resistance right here. So a resistance right here, I am just looking at what prices are doing at this level to just trade off. So if you want to trade off, a typical clear example, how to trade it. A typical clear example is to just sell once it gets into this zone and it fails to break. You sell it and boom, market descends down. And when it comes to a critical support, you wait for a turnaround, maybe the first blue candle to close. The first blue candle to close. So for instance, if you are trading at this level, you wait for this move. You wait for this move. So after this blue candle closes, showing the sign that it bounced up, then you enter here, then boom, you make as much as how many pips? Almost 130 pips. Alright guys, so basically support and resistance is your foundation to your technical analysis in making trading decisions. Okay, so now you know how to trade support and resistance. Just trading support and resistance, you know how to properly draw support and resistance. You know that it is not a one price, it's a zone, and the most important support and resistance are drawn from the higher time frame. The least time frame you should draw your support and resistance is the 1 hour time frame, and that is if you're a day trader. That is even if you're a day trader. As a swing trader, you look at support and resistance from the daily and the 4 hour time frame. Right guys, I could go on and on and on and on with other pairs. I can also look at Aussie dollar. I can look at Aussie dollar. I can look at dollar card. So these are the two exemplary pairs that I can use to draw support and resistance. Comment down in the comment section below what you took from this video and how you're going to go about it. Let me know your thoughts on this particular video. Give it a thumbs up so that many traders who like to know much more about trading, or newbies to also watch this video if it's helped you in any way, right? Then hit the subscribe button and I'll be much grateful. On to the next one. It's peace. I'm out.